It's 2020, and if you're focusing on finding love this year, forget Cupid. Keishorne Scott is the man with the plan.
So let's talk about love.
Let's talk about love.
He's a relationship expert and heartbreak coach with hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers and tips to finding that real-life happily ever after in 2020.
If you gotta let your ex go, let them go.
But you can't just skip to the fairy tale ending.
It first starts with, are you in a position emotionally, mentally, or even spiritually to receive love or give love?
So how do you know that you're ready?
I would say when you no longer have thoughts of your ex, number one, and you're in a state emotionally where you're ready to fall in love again.
What are some of those concrete things you can do to make sure that your ex is not a part of your life anymore?
So you have to detox from your ex. I'm talking about social media. Block them, delete them everywhere, because you want to position yourself for success.
Keishorne says the ex detox includes physical items too.
You gotta get rid of the shoes. I gotta get rid of the shoes that he brought me or the clothes that she brought me. Yeah, you do, because that's still a piece of them.
Once you're detoxed and you've left your ex and all that drama in 2019, then you're ready to meet someone. Keishorne's tips for attracting the right person?
Hey, look approachable, look laughable, enjoy your life, and look without looking. And go out more, explore, say, you know what, I'm gonna go to networking events. I like to shop. Let me go to shop. Let me go and shop. Let me do some things with my life. Let me get out the house.
And once you do land the date?
I will say the number one thing to understand is that dating is gathering information. So take a step back, take a deep breath, ladies and gentlemen, and ask the right questions. Who are you? Where do you want to go in the next 2 to 3 years? Where do you see yourself? Do we share the same values?
But what if those values don't line up?
Don't try to color the red flags white, because a lot of us, we see the red flags,
right, but
we try to paint it white to meet our needs.
And finally, the romance resolution to avoid in the new year: saying you'll have a boo by a specific date.
You don't have to put a timestamp. Just say 2020 is going to be my best year, and if love comes, then it comes. If love doesn't come, it's okay, but at the end of the day, I still love myself.
That's good.
Thanks to Keishorne and to Cafe Fiorello for having us.
Hey,
good stuff.
That is really good stuff.
Listening to the Not So Christian in Me show, starring Southern Girl.
Hello. Welcome to the Not So Christian in Me show live. And that was Keishorne Scott. And he is an expert. I mean, he's not any type of expert. He's a relationship and heartbreak expert. And he is in the building. Please help me welcome Keishorne Scott. And he's not my cousin, y'all. I know I'm married to Scott, but that's not my cousin. Hey, Keishorne, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm watching the clips. I'm like, that's me? That's what I had here. Now I'm bald, but yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No problem. I had to throw that in there. I know it's not Throwback Thursday, but hey, I had to throw that in there so people can kind of get a feel of who you are and what you bring to the table. And speaking of who you are, I want to know what makes you the expert in heartbreaks and relationships. How you're an expert. Tell us a little bit about that, how you became an expert.
I mean, I became an expert just by giving information. Right.
Okay.
I give information to people and living my experiences and coming out of the trenches, right? Coming out of the hard situations and doing something with my life, right? I'm the result everybody wants to see. I'm the result that everybody, is saying to themselves, I can't get out of this, Keishorne. I can't heal. I can't do better. I'm that living proof. So I say expert is because I've been through it and I've came out on the other side. So the information that I give to people, you can do it too. You can heal. You can, live a better life. You can love yourself more, or you can find love again, and you can really experience the best that life has to offer.
So when did you decide to take this on as a full-time career?
I mean, I learned to turn on when I wrote my first book, right? I wanted to turn it when I wrote my first book. I think it was life, and I said, you know what, I wanted to speak, not really coaching, it was speaking. But then I started giving relationship advice on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook, and a lot of people were relating to the same message. So I realized how many people were broken, how many people were, couldn't find their own path, didn't know their purpose, didn't have any vision. And I said to myself, okay, how can I, number one, monetize this, of course, for my time, but how can I give people a part of me that can help them get to the next level? Yeah. So that happened with, being around people and going to coaching programs and getting certifications and just reading and really becoming that expert. Because you can say that you're an expert, but you still got work to do. You still got to do the professional part of things as well. And, books were selling really good. TV started to come in, and it's crazy when you start putting out information, people just gravitate towards you, and they see you as something, and you just become that. You don't know what God has for you in your life, so you always got to be focused and available.
Now, that's so true. That's so true. A lot of times you don't realize what God has in store for you until you step out on faith and push yourself forward, and you're like, okay. Thank you, God. This is what you wanted me to do. But you have to step out on faith and just be edgy a little bit, just take the chance. Take the chance. And that's what you did with Instagram, because I was reading up on you, and I think that you had you started with Instagram, right? And you kind of blew up from there. Tell us how did that all happen? And was you shocked how it happened so fast?
I mean, it was Facebook first. Facebook
okay.
The bigger one first, because I was focused on Facebook. Facebook blew up, went from 5,000 to 10,000, 30, 40, 50. And then, 400,000. And Facebook was happening first, but then Instagram came. It's like a trickle effect.
Yeah.
You get in, you get out whatever you put the most attention into.
Right.
So, but I was just doing both. I was working with other influencers as well. And also, when your message go viral, like videos, with 10 million views, and you want to know who this is, and this message is powerful, it's helping me change my life. You can never really be prepared for things like that, right? You never know. That's why I tell people I started with 3 followers, just like you. I started with 4, then 5, and then 10, and then 20. You don't just magically get 200 unless you brought your page from someone else that you're buying stuff.
Yeah.
But me and my friends, we came from the ground up. I have friends who have way more than me, who does relationship stuff, and they're in the millions, but the thing about it is that you just got to keep going. You're not really prepared, but you can't lose who you are in the process. I've seen a lot of people lose who they are. They and these are the people that are big. They start doing certain things the right way and just start living for other people. And I just kept, doing things on my own, and focusing on me and my purpose and where my life is headed.
Now, did you have a full-time job when you was managing social media with your posts and all that? Because that can be very challenging trying to keep up with everything with social media, because I try it all the time, and it's draining, and have a full-time job. So did you have a full-time job?
Yeah, I think I did. I think it was, even if it was not full-time, it had to be part-time. But I think I know I did, right? I think I was working with kids at that point, because I still have a passion for working with children, teens and middle school kids, boys, exact. But I think I did. And when I did, but what happened was nighttime was my social media time.
Okay.
All the time, nighttime was my social media. It doesn't matter if I was tired. It doesn't matter if whatever was going on, right? Because I do remember I did have a full-time job. I was working with kids as a director. I just can't remember too much of where it was, but just say it was kids, right? That's good. What happened was when you get off, that's when you got to get back to work again. You have to work your dreams after you come out your 9 to 5. So I was working until 2 o'clock, and I had to create videos. I had to create content, and that's a whole job. One video, a whole job.
That's true.
My goal is I have to create one video every single day, and that's hard because things pop up. It's so difficult to post up a 3-minute video. 3 minutes is only 3 minutes. Develop the video, get on the computer, edit the video, and then make the whole graphics and then post it up at the right time. And then, it's exhausting sometimes, especially if a family has children. But yeah, man, it was all about balancing my time and understanding, like, because I really didn't have no money, not enough money at that time to get a assistant, get a publicist, get people on your team. So when you're starting off, you have to do everything on your own, every single thing.
Right.
So I'll definitely say, yeah.
And speaking of balancing all of the social media aspects, how were you able to include your books? Because right now you have top selling books on the market. So how did you incorporate your books with everything else that you were working on?
I mean, one of the things I want people to know is that your book is your resume, right? So when people know that you're an author, they'll actually do a lot of things. They'll actually speak, number one. They'll say, hey, you're expert in this field. If you write a book on how to get rich, they're gonna be like, okay, well, he wrote a book, right? To the average person, not people like me, you and I, right? You and I, like, oh, just wrote a book. It's just a book, right? But I want to see what you have done else to prove that the book, works. Do you have a business? Did you run something?
Yeah.
But when you have the book, people see you as experts. So now you have to present yourself. So you have to clean up your page. You have to get professional photos. People have to see you where you're going to be before you're really there. Like, people have to see you there. So my thing is that I have to dress good. I have to look good. I have to always come correct. I always have to, practice what I preach. I always have to stay focused. I always have to just work. Because in my mind, if I do not work, I do not get paid.
Don't eat.
If you don't eat, and of course, and people come on my page. If I'm not posted for a day, they literally DM me and say, "Hey, Keishorne, you didn't post a video today."
Wow, they following you like that.
They say, "Hey, you didn't post nothing yet," so they know. If they get an email, they'll know. So it's like, when you build yourself up, just be prepared to be accountable and always showing up.
Yeah. Now your books. Tell us about your books.
Well, I have 5 books. The first one's called Life, Love, Insecurities, Friends, and Envy. It talks about my life, my first book when I go through my breakup. It really doesn't talk too much about breakup, but just about my life at that time, right? It talked about how, mom issues, it had issues with myself, self-esteem, loving myself, who I was, where I wanted to go. Because I realize entrepreneurs, we question ourselves every day. Even though we know that we have everything, down packed, we still say, am I doing everything right? For some reason. But it talks about all of that, right? And then the other books is a quote book, Keishorne Says. And then the other one is a book by my wife and I called Heart of Gold. That's just 40 devotional books with scripture. Then the next one is The Mouse, the Bird, the Dog, and the Lion. 3 Men to Avoid and 1 to Marry. And then the next one is a book on, it's like a book on like after school programs, like an educational book, right?
Okay.
Through the system and through schools and DOE and things like that.
So pretty much you have a variety of different books. And I want to touch bases with the book about quotes. You actually have a quote that says, "Stop asking God to make that toxic relationship work." How do you know when a relationship has become toxic?
I mean, when you're uncomfortable, right? It's like, when something's wrong with your body, right? When you wake up in the morning, you turn over, something's wrong. I got a pain because it feels abnormal, right? That relationship is getting toxic when the whole relationship is becoming abnormal, right? It's draining you. It's taking more from you than expected, right? And one of the big things is when you start losing who you are in the midst of it, you start depreciating as a person. You look at yourself in the mirror and you don't even recognize who you are. It's because you're allowing these toxic habits to kind of like, consume you to the point where you look in the mirror like, yeah, who are you? You're battered and you're hurt and you're upset all the time and you're angry and you're begging someone to love you and you're, begging for attention. You're begging for affection, and it's exhausting. And that this person doesn't love you, but begging this person for love or trying to make this person change is better than starting over. Because some people, we don't want to go through that whole entire, hey, nice to meet you. What's your name? How old are you? What's your favorite color? All over again. Yeah. We just want the person that we're with to get it right and understand that I love you. I'm your biggest advocate.
Yeah.
But it's hard because people say, oh, why don't you just leave them? The biggest advice, men or women, just go, just walk away. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
You invested so much time, you invested so much in people, you want a return on your investment. I'll give you all this. I want something back. At least give me $100, right? So yeah, I mean it's hard, but you know when it's a toxic relationship that you need to walk away from, when it kind of takes away everything from you and you yourself and you can't recognize who you are.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes years for people to realize it because they end up becoming somebody else.
Yeah.
Until they one day they wake up and like, wait a minute, what I'm doing, why I'm in this state.
Yeah.
Like this is not me. Or sometimes it'd be somebody else to tell you something and it just triggers something in your brain, like, oh wow. Like I am in a toxic relationship, or they may see something or see somebody else in the same situation that they're in, because you can't, just like they say, you have to look at somebody else in order to see yourself sometimes. And that what triggers you to get out of that toxic relationship. Now, speaking of toxic relationship, I know the pandemic has caused a lot of friction in relationships. A lot of damage has been involved with the pandemic. So have you seen a lot of damaged relationships during the pandemic?
Yeah, a lot, and I've been getting a lot of clients and people who are, talking about how their relationship just hit rock bottom, they really figure out who their spouse was, they really figure out the downside to their relationship, how they have nothing in common, but there are people who really got even closer, right? Excuse me. Like my wife and I, we got closer. We learned about each other. You had to use it in the beginning as a way to learn, communicate, right, and see what you're going to take from it. But a lot of people, they really lost themselves being with somebody for 90 days. That's a long time.
Yes.
Right? When you're in a relationship, you see your partner probably twice, 2 hours, 2-3 hours a day. And the reason why is because you're both working 9 to 5s, right? And then somebody's picking up the baby and you might not live together. So you're on the phone. So it's not where you can put the phone down and come back to it whenever you want to. You're in this person's face consistently. You have to deal with issues consistently face to face. You have to communicate now because you can't walk outside because you might catch COVID, right? So you better pick your fire. You're either going to go outside and catch COVID or you're going to stay here and fight for this relationship, So, man, a lot of people, a lot of relationships, abusive relationships, I've heard probably everything during COVID. And a lot of it is heartbreaking, the type of things that come out of it. You really get to know who people are under pressure, and people really can't deal with themselves or deal with the people that they're with for a long time.
And speaking of heartbreak, let's talk about your heartbreak workbook. What inspired you to create that workbook?
I would say I needed something else to help people, right? Rather than the videos and the posts and the quote post and things like that, you still need something tangible where people can write inside of it and go back to it. Because that's what I had. I didn't have a workbook, but I had pages. And when I was going through these pages one time, I was like, you know what? Wow, like all these writings really helped me. I wondered if people had something to look back on after they're healed and say, wow, I went through this process. And this is the proof that I've made it. So the workbook is like something tangible so they can work on themselves, right? And not by themselves because they're working, with the workbook and they have something, rather than just going online saying, oh, let me read this quote. Let me screenshot this post and read it to myself. The greatest enemy is here, right? The greatest enemy is your mind. So the goal is to work on yourself, do the worksheet, self-coach yourself, and get yourself back. Because some people, coaching for them, it might be too expensive, right? Therapy might be too expensive, might not have insurance. But the book is something that you can grab for like $12, $14, and then you can sit down and you can write, you can work and really, do something for yourself. It might be something small, but still do something.
Yes, that way you still building. It's those building blocks that you need, and then it might be an interactive workbook. You can always reflect back. You have something to reflect back to.
Yeah,
you go to a situation, you can reflect back to that workbook, and it's something that you can remember. Because I know when you, like you say, sometimes you just read stuff and you just put it in the storage box somewhere. But by you having that workbook, is you more into it. It's like you have a piece of it with you because you engaged in it, and I think that's a really good idea how you did that. Are you planning on creating other workbooks like that or something similar?
Maybe, it's a lot of work, man. You put me on the spot right now. I ain't trying to create nothing else. But yeah, I'm in the process of creating a journal. It's like a self-care journal where you can work on yourself for like the whole year. Because my next book is called The Year I Chose Me, right?
Okay.
And everybody has that year where they chose them. That one year that you say, you know what, I'm gonna just do our year. And I had that year, right? My year was 2011. And I said, after the heartbreak, I'm going to choose this whole year. I'm not going to get no relationship. I ain't going to worry about no drama. I'm going to look for a good job. I'm going to, do good in my life. And I'm going to just focus on my self-care, my self-being, get my money up, pay off debts, all of that. Everybody has that one year where they did the biggest accomplishment of their life.
Right.
So I think, so the book pretty much is just talking about the year you chose you. You chose your mental health. You chose your physical health, and you just invested in yourself, because we spend our entire life investing in other people, and we never invest in ourselves. We never who we are. So yeah, so you gotta choose you for that year.
I like that. I like that, choosing you for your choosing you, for that year to do something for you.
Yeah.
I love that, and that's part of self-reflection. It's part of making yourself better to the person that God had called you to be. And a lot of people, they fail on their calling because they in somebody else's dream. They working for, like you say, working for somebody else, working for their calling instead of their own personal calling.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your love experience, a live recording. Tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, your love experience is just talking about different love experience that everybody goes through. So right now we do a lot of like celebrities, a lot of other people just get their stories across just to build a message up. And we just want to hear what everybody else went through, right? Because we all have different love experiences. We all have different ones. We do not ever have the same love. We do not have the same love capacity. The way we receive and give love is completely different. So your love experience is to expose to everyone else that just because your love experience didn't work, just doesn't mean that it's never going to work, because everything is different. A lot of people base their next love experience based on the previous love experience.
Yeah.
It's not the case. There's other, relationships out there. There's other people out there. There's other men and other women who are really good people and wants to give you the love, right? It might be a little tough, right? And it might be a little difficult, but you got to expose yourself to those kind of things. So I think your love experience is perfect, so people can just listen to other people's stories and see exactly what God, have done in their life, and say, you know what, I'm gonna wait on you. I'm gonna be patient, and I'm gonna wait for my time.
Is it streamed live on a weekly basis? Tell us, how does that work?
Yeah,
so we can watch it.
All right, so it is weekly, and it's on Anchor, and it's also on YouTube, and it's also on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
but it's not
I know
that recorded.
Okay. So are you guys coming up with? I mean, how many seasons has it been? Is it just one season?
We're in season 1 right now.
Just one season right now. So right now you're looking for more people. Are you gonna just do regular people? Cause I know you say you're working with celebrities right now. What about regular?
We do selective people. That's what we do right now. We do like selective people. Yeah. So usually people with like large followings, selective people, or people who are really interested in stories that people really want to hear. Because if you put it out there, everybody wants to be on a podcast, but everybody don't really have a message, right? And everybody can really talk or deliver a message powerful enough in order for people to keep
receive it.
Right, able to receive it and to keep it back, because at the end of the day, it's a business. If I have a bunch of people on there who just people like, what are they talking about? I don't really matter. Then it's going to kind of dwindle down the audience. It's like a store. Right.
So give us your 5 tips to not going back to a relationship that did not work in previous relationships, because I think it's something that couples do. I mean, that's something that people do all the time, because we comfortable with being with that particular type of person that has the same characteristics as a previous person. So give us those tips on how not to keep going back.
I mean, you have to know your worth. You have to know how important you are.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And how worthy you really are, right? That's the number one thing. A lot of us, we don't think that we deserve love to the capacity that we really think that we deserve love, right? So we fall in love out of loneliness, and if someone says a little bit of attention, we're ready to say, I love you. Let's get married. Let's do this. But we really don't sit down and we really don't, evaluate who we are. So I would say number 1, right? 5 tips. Number 1, know who you are. Know who you are, right? Number 2, know where you are. When I say know where you are in your life. Are you even in a position to give and receive love at this moment? Are you healed? Are you ready to love someone? Are you ready to give up your time, your affection, your attention to someone, right? And are you willing to accept someone else's time and attention, right? And if you have children, is your children in a position to accept someone else into their life, right? And are you okay with sharing someone else's time with their work or whatever it is, or sharing your time? Because you are giving up your independence in a way. All that time you could get up and do everything that you want. You can't do that anymore. You're going to be questioned for some of your actions. So are you okay with that? So that's knowing where you are. So know who you are, where you are, and know what you want, right? A lot of people say they want a relationship. They say they want this, but they don't really want it. They just want somebody to pass time with. And some people they want love. They've been hurt so much. They've been healing it back to back. They want love. They want a family. They want to get married. They want to build a future. So know what you want, so you won't go into somebody else's life and poison everything that they've been working for, right? Number 4, make sure you're in an emotional state where you're ready to meet the requirements of your requirements, right? So number 4 is to meet the requirements of your requirements, because there are a lot of people who they require, hey, I want somebody who's trustworthy, loving, caring. You know, you got to be making 6 figures. You got to be 6'3". You gotta be this. You got to be that. But you're not even none of those. You got to be healthy, but you still eating Popeyes, right?
Yeah. It's true. Real talk.
Requirements of your requirements. You can't ask for something you're not willing to give, right? And number 5, have fun with it, right? Have fun, right? Have fun with healing. Have fun with the love life. Have fun with everything, right? Because everything's going to bring you to a bigger purpose. You should not be the same person in day 1 on day 30, right? Have fun with your growth. Have fun with your transition. Have fun with your elevation, right? Because God is going to promote you. He's going to upgrade you. But don't see it as something challenging, as something bad. See it as an opportunity for you to step out of your comfort zone, and you could become something great, because you never know what you could become if you don't jump.
Right. And we are all born with greatness. And it's up to us to find that greatness within us, but we're all born with greatness. That is some great advice. Now, before I let you go, I need to get some more advice from you, from all of my listeners, my viewers from all across the world. This is some advice that they really need. How to get over a heartbreak, because we all have experienced heartbreaks, but it can be so hard to get over a heartbreak. What's some key advice that you can give us on how to overcome a heartbreak?
I would say one of the first steps is to make sure that you really want to overcome the heartbreak, that you really want to get over it. Right? Number 1, make sure that you really want to get over it. And just sit down and just relax. Say to yourself, why do you want to get over it? Because some people really don't want to get over it, and they'll go right back to their ex. They'll go right back into the same poison. They'll go right back into the same atmosphere and keep hurting themselves and breaking themselves. So enough has to be enough. You have to get to that point in your life where you say, enough is enough, and I need to heal. I have to do this for my life. I have to do this for myself and my purpose and where I want to go, right? And you got to stop picking up what God is telling you to put down. A lot of times God is telling you, stop picking that up, right? And you keep picking up the mess. You keep picking him up, thinking you're going to change him. You keep picking her up, thinking that she's going to be better. And people is not going to change unless they see a problem with their own actions and they see how toxic it is to other people's lives. And then they'll say, you know what? There is something wrong with me, and I don't like this. I got to change it. And that's where I came with and through my heartbreak. I said, Keishorne, there's something wrong with you, and you're not going to be a good father. You're not going to be a good son. You're not going to be a good brother. You're not going to be a good nephew. You're not going to be a good uncle. You're not going to be a good man. You have to change. And if marriage and you want to have a family and build something and be a husband, one day you have to change your behavior, because no woman's going to want you, and no relationship is going to last with you in it. Yeah. And that's when I came to the point. So one of the first steps that I learned is forgive yourself. Learn how to forgive yourself. Learn how to say, you know what, self, I am sorry. I put you through so much mess. I put you through so much heartbreak. I should have left. I know I should have. I'm sorry for trying to change him, trying to change her, going back all the time, giving second and third chances. I am sorry. So you apologize to yourself. And then you acknowledge the fact that you do have to forgive your ex. It doesn't matter what they did. I don't care what they did. I'm sorry. And it's hurtful, right? And it's hurtful. And I'm sorry, but you have to forgive him or her to a certain extent. Because in order for you to fully move on and fully to grasp what God has for you on the other side of fear, you have to forgive. The second step is you have to learn how to accept the pain. You're going to go through some pain. It's going to feel like you're going to die. You're going to feel like you can't survive. You're going to feel like you can't breathe. You can't eat. You can't sleep. You can't function. So you have to accept the fact that these things are going to happen. So prepare for these things mentally. Say, you know what? I'm supposed to cry. I'm supposed to be upset. You're broken. You're supposed to be upset. You're
human.
Yes. You're human. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset, but you can't stay there. You can't stay there for too long, right? There's a part we have to transition, right? From those tears, you know, and go through the grieving process and transition and go somewhere else. Number 3, you have to change the way you look at yourself. You have to change the way you feel and look at yourself. You look in that mirror, you say, oh my God, no wonder he left me. No wonder she not in my life no more. Look at me. And you start talking down on yourself. Build yourself back up. One person's misconception on you or the relationship doesn't define who you are as a person or where you're, right? It doesn't. And one of the our final step, but there's many more, but I'll give you one more step. Also, changing, detoxing as well. Detoxing should be number 1, actually, but detoxing, right? So it's detoxing, forgiving, accepting the fact, and changing the way you look and feel about yourself. So about detoxing, you got to know how to block, delete, and leave these people alone, right? Stop chasing someone who don't love you. One thing my ex told me, she said, I don't love you anymore, right? And when she told me she didn't love me anymore, I said, you know what I said? I said, but I love you. I don't care if you don't love me no more. I love you, and I want you back.
Yeah.
Like, we'll make it work. I'll get to you loving me at some point. But right now, I am broken and I'm lonely and I want you back. But then when you start thinking about it, and you say to yourself, they don't love me? You start saying to yourself, like, why am I chasing someone who don't love me? You don't care whether I'm here or not. You don't care whether I'm in your life no more. So the detoxing stage is you have to separate. What your ex is doing and who they're doing it with is none of your business. You have to focus on you and where you want to go. So you have to detox. Get rid of the clothes. Get rid of anything they brought you. You could hide it, put it in the box, put it in the storage until you're at an emotional state, because you might have some nice shoes or something, like a nice bag. Give away. But until you're in an emotional state where you can wear these things without having an emotional reaction to them, then you should be fine.
I love it. This is some great advice, and I love the fact that it goes back to the biblical, you know, the Bible, forgiveness. That is so important through every situation. Forgiveness is like very important. So I love your advice, and
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God. I would not.
Yes.
The only how I got up to that altar that day when I was tears running down my eyes, and first time ever going to really invested in church. Because I've been to church all the time. When you children, you go to church, you sit down, you play around a little bit, you leave, get some ice cream, you go home.
Right.
But when I went to church, I had clothes, I had some jeans on, some Timbs, and a jacket, and I never went up there in my life. I've never went up there when they did an altar call or nothing. I'm like, yo, look at all these people going up there. Why are they going up there? They weird. They put their hands in the air. They crying. They got some serious problems, man. Not me. I ain't buying into this.
Yeah.
But look at me walking right down that aisle, just like them, right behind them.
Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Yeah.
Yes, in my head, my eyes is, you know, when you cry and it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And you're like, where's all this coming?
It's piled up. It's been piled up for so long.
I tried to stop the tears and it just kept on. And it wasn't like drips. It was flowing. It was flowing. And then they prayed for me and they said, this season in your life, you have to run. That's all I heard. You have to run. That's all she was saying. She's like, you got to run, because something is coming. You got to run. And I didn't understand that. But I realized when you're going through a heartbreak, you can't walk. You can't sit. You can't get in a car and drive and look. You have to run. You have to fight, because this is life. So when I got through that, I said, you know what? I got to change everything. And when I realized who Jesus was, and I started, you know, understanding the Bible and started reading and understanding about forgiveness. And then forgiveness, how much time we supposed to forgive? 77 times 7, right? He's not saying an exact number. He's just saying that you got to keep forgiving all the time, and you can't stop forgiving people. And that's the blessing that I've learned, man. And I'm happy that I got saved, because it taught me so much about myself, who I am, how I love people, how I accept feedback, how I accept pain, how I see people, how I view people, how I view everybody. It changes your mindset. It changes your heart, and it's the best thing in the world. People ask me, you know, just to end my talk, but people ask me, they said, Keishorne, when I go to interviews, what's your greatest accomplishment? And I'm sure they're asking for, oh, well, I sold this amount of books, or I've been here and I did this. Yo, man, the best day of my life is when I gave my life to God. It's when I give my life. But that right there, that's my greatest
powerful.
If I die right now, I'll be good that I did that, right? Because everybody's seen a little God in me every single day I go on my page.
I love it. Oh, that's beautiful. That's powerful. And God gave you a powerful gift. And brother, I'm proud of you. Keep doing your thing. If I can support you, I'm going to support you. Just let me know what you got going on. Let my viewers know, how can they support you? How can they find you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. Any social media, just enter my name on the screen, Keishorne Scott, or if this is on a podcast, that's KeishorneScott. So just enter that first and last name, and you can find me everywhere.
Okay, Instagram and
And
also listed Twitter as well.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being my special guest. I pray that God will continue to use you in a mighty way. And like I said earlier, you have all of my support here at the Not So Christian Me Show. Do you have any final thoughts before we go tonight?
Not really, man. I'm just happy. I'm happy that I was able to bless the audience, right, with great
Yes, you did. You did.
information changes situations. So I hope you got something from this interview today that can help you get to the next level, find your purpose or heal or whatever it is that you want to do with your life. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story, because a lot of people don't really share their story. But in order for other people to heal, you have to share your story. And it not only you're healing other people, but you're healing yourself along the way. So I commend you for that. And thank you so much, and continue to do what God has called you to do. Thank you everyone who tuned in today. If you guys are interested in being a guest or sponsor, please reach out to the Not So Christian and Me Show on Facebook and Instagram. And also sow us a seed in our Cash App at $TNSCIM. Until next time, remember that no matter what you guys are going through, God will see you through. Stay blessed up. Peace. Bye.